Okay. I don't know why I get nervous making these stupid videos. Okay, yeah, I played Dead Space. I finished it last night. Alright, so just to summarize, I really like it. It was really fun. Really, I didn't imagine how fun it would be to kill these monsters. It's just really satisfying and just addictive to keep playing the game. I finished Dead Space 2 first, no particular reason, but so that was interesting. So I guess yeah, I'd like to summarize it first. I'd give it like 8 or maybe even 9 out of 10. It was really fun. But it has flaws, but also strengths. It's very similar to Dead Space 2, as anyone that's played them would know. I think Dead Space 2 was a good improvement in gameplay, so it felt like I was going backwards with the controls and stuff, and the graphics a little bit, but it's interesting. There's some different dynamics that I want to comment on. Dead Space is more of a horror than the sequel. I think it's got a bit more. It's a bit more scary, a bit more creepy. Not that I really find any of it scary, but I could sort of notice and respect. Okay, this is meant to be. The second one has a little bit more action, a bit similar to the Alien movies, but um, yeah, I noticed a lot of the interiors, like they look really interesting. I really like the flashing lights and the zero gravity stuff is actually really cool. Before I forget, the way you can jump onto the walls and then onto the ceiling, I actually liked it possibly more than the sequel. The sequel's still fun, the way you can fly around and float around, but this one's even cooler. Like just being able to stand on walls and just fly basically through the air. That's really fun and exciting, and it helps you look at the places in a different way. But like the paintings of MC Escher or I don't know, that sort of thing. Even Inception, where things are twisting around sideways. I think that's really cool and creative. A flaw with Dead Space, it feels like there's a lot of backtracking, like you have to keep going through the same area, and that works against exploration in some ways, because you'd have this blue line. Actually, that's a really annoying thing. When you press to do the blue line, it like forces the camera onto the ground. I just think it needs to relax. Keep the camera where it is. Just show me where the blue line is. Otherwise, you move the camera onto the ground and I can barely see. I'm trying to figure out where it goes, and it was very frustrating. But there are times when it says to go through this door, and I think, okay, well, I'll go explore this door first, thinking it might be a storeroom, lots of pickups, but it's just a whole nother area, and you realize, okay, we probably go there later, but there's nothing to indicate that to me. So it's either I don't explore and I just go the way it says, or I some every now and then explore places and realize I'm an idiot. I'm gonna go there later anyway. So that was a bit frustrating. The both of them have yeah the controls are just really good. There's a lot of pet peeves I have about games. They get most of them right, I think. The balance is really good with the enemies and the weapons. The way that you level up, I think, is really cool. The weapons are actually really fun and exciting. I found Dead Space a lot easier than the sequel, though. I think maybe because I played Dead Space 2, I'd gotten the hang of it, and I don't want to brag, but I had a. I feel like it's stupid. Anytime you say I don't want to brag, it's obviously you're about to brag. Um, the I had a technique. I'm not saying it's original, but I just sold all the medical equipment and the stasis packs, and just focused on upgrading the damage for the weapons. That's all you need to do, and buy as many of the. I think they're called power nodes, but I call them Energiekanoten because that's what it was in German. To upgrade your weapons, that's the best thing to do. I ended up with I think 5 weapons fully upgraded, with maybe like one thing missing, and another one that I'd just started, and the stasis was fully upgraded, and the kinesis, and I only did part of the rig. So I would just recommend focusing all of your energy on the damage, because if you go with that philosophy, just try not to ever get hit, and minimize the number of bullets you use, and then you just like the Ripper is really good for ammo. You end up with so much extra ammo, and you just sell it. The same, I did what someone recommended, buy the contact beam and then just sell all the ammo. Don't use it as a weapon, just sell the ammo and you make plenty of money. And it helps you buy more nodes and then you can upgrade your weapons. It worked really well. Yeah, but it felt a bit easier, but that actually I think made it more fun. I didn't have to keep replaying parts and get frustrated as much. I could just feel confident and I had a high standard for myself. If I got hit even just a little bit, I just try to restart it. That was a flaw. You can't go back to the checkpoint. Dead Space 2 has that, so it's missing. I feel like a nerd just complaining about in this one there was this but it's so annoying when you play the game. It's like a feature that's really important. You need to be able to just go back to the checkpoint straight away. Another thing is checkpoints need to be at the right point. There was a part where there's these two tall gangly guys. I really don't find any of it scary. I was saying to my brother, like, I jump sometimes, but it's because there's something there, not because it's scary. It's the same, like if I was playing Ratchet and Clank, I think, or some other action game, if there was someone hits you, I'd be like, oh, what? Oh, come on. And then try to shoot it and be frustrated. It's the same thing. It's not like, I don't react any differently to a hulking necromorph zombie thing than I do to like some cute little thing that's hitting me. It's still the same problem, I think. So anyway, these two tall guys, but I died a few times, or I got hit and I just gave up. And then I'd have to go open a door, trudge through this area, pick up a few things, go down an elevator, just to die again, and then do that every time. And I just think it should be common sense. Anytime there's a part where you could die, you have a checkpoint just before that part. And then when it's loading, and Dead Space took longer to load than the sequel, so that's a problem. But when once it's finished loading, it shouldn't just throw you into the action straight away. It should throw you just before, it should be right before the action, so you take 2 steps and then you initiate it. And it shouldn't be putting you before where you have to watch a cutscene or walk through an area. For the final boss, there was a stupid cutscene I have to see again and again. I don't mind watching it so much as, or even if I could skip it, but it was the time it took. The time between dying or realizing, no, that's it, I can do better, and getting back into it, starting again. I don't mind a slight delay, but it shouldn't be that long. It should be, you want to keep the pace going, the momentum. It's much more fun that way. Some other things, I do think Dead Space 2 improved a lot on Dead Space, but I was surprised how unoriginal Dead Space 2 was. I was a bit disappointed in retrospect that Dead Space, there were 1 or 2 parts that looked familiar, and I thought, oh, wow, that's really cool, I recognize this place, but then it kept happening, and I thought there was too much of that. I think the game should take place as much as possible in an original place, or really change the location, but there was like too many areas that ended up echoing, in Dead Space 2 between them. So I think that's a flaw of Dead Space 2. It should have been more original. Some of the things are more clumsy in Dead Space, so like the stasis is okay, but it still feels a bit too slow. The kinesis or telekinesis, whatever, that was too weak, I thought, and lame. It takes too long, and it was never effective as a weapon. It was just frustrating. The sequel was much better in that area. But that's sort of how I would summarize it. Dead Space is really original and moody and cool and fun. And then Dead Space 2 is like the exact same, just better graphics, better controls. But that's why it feels like it should have been more original. To me, it seems disappointing in retrospect. But okay, so the weapons I didn't think were quite as good in this one. They're still really fun, but the Ripper is too far away. It was so frustrating. I would be trying to use it. It's like this saw that's spinning in front of you, and it would cut behind the enemy rather than cut them. I don't know if you know what I mean. It's hovering at a certain distance, and they could seem to basically walk around it, and I couldn't aim it at them. It was so awkward. It wasn't nearly as good as it was in the second game. There were also a lot of annoying little creatures that could do a lot of damage to you, but which were a real pain to kill. Like, you could shoot them with the machine guns so much with the pulse rifle, and it would take forever, and I didn't think that was completely logical. Like, you waste so much ammo, it's hard to come up with an efficient way to kill them. There are other flaws like the stasis. You never know where there's going to be a stasis thing to recharge it, so you have mixed feelings about whether to use it or not. I played it in Russian, which is really cool for me. I haven't played any or many games in Russian, so that was good practice. So I could sort of follow the story. I looked it up online later. It seems alright, but that's an area where there could be more. Like, there could be more of a character. I feel like there's more tension, but I guess the genre is just survival horror, so that's not a big part of it. But that's a problem with survival horror. I don't understand sometimes the popularity of certain movies like that. There's no depth, there's no real meaning. It's only about surviving. I guess you can look at human nature, but they never really like I really hate the dark side of or not the dark side, but they always everyone's a jerk, I find, with that sort of thing. Like I think of the movie Cube. I haven't seen that in a while, but they all seem stupid and just turn on each other. And I just think that's a really tired old cliche. And it kind of feels like it happens in these games, both Dead Spaces that I've played, where the characters inevitably turn on each other, or there's some kind of betrayal. Aliens had a little bit of that, or even Alien, but it was different somehow. It just felt different. It wasn't just like this inevitable, obvious thing. You could want to feel like people can get along. You would think all these alien creatures, deadly things, would make you work together rather than turn on each other. But anyway, I'm not spoiling anything. I think it's just it's unsurprising when here or there's like some kind of betrayal or twist or something. It's never surprising. Yeah, I wanted to mention the interiors of Dead Space. Some of them reminded me of like Hellraiser, or like there were these lines on the wall that reminded me of the portal thing, teleporter from The Fly. I don't know if they're specific references, but some of it maybe looks like Event Horizon, which I've only seen once, so I don't know, I guess space horror. I don't know how many space horror sort of things there are in existence, and even Alien, there's similarities, but yeah, I feel Dead Space, I like its style, but I don't think it has as much of a unique style as it could. But the gameplay, just overall, the game is really fun to play because there's a variety of things to do. You never know when monsters are going to come out, so that's fun. It keeps you on the edge. And yeah, the controls are just really good. Not as polished as in the sequel, and not all of the things you have are as effective. But you get used to it. Part of it was just getting used to the different controls for the PlayStation 3. They're a bit changed. Yeah, I don't know what I'm talking about. Yeah, just you can quickly. It's really satisfying when you can easily switch between weapons and just run and just do all of these things, and you just have it at your fingertips. It becomes intuitive. You can reload, shoot this guy, shoot him in the leg, then the arm, freeze that person, change to a saw and saw them, and I don't know. You feel like you have a lot of freedom, but there's also this danger. You level up, but then the monsters get tougher, and it just really feels like you're making progress. And yeah, I found this little Peng doll as well. I don't know what that is. What is it? There's always Peng. I have to look up what that is, if that's a reference to something or just some in-joke. Anyway, yeah, so I think yeah, it's a really fun game, and this is so stupid. I'm reviewing it 8 years after it came out. But yeah, Dead Space 2 just feels like it wasn't, I don't know, it was kind of too similar. It was very fun playing Dead Space, but so in that sense, I feel like Dead Space deserves a lot of credit for being so original. Dead Space 2 makes improvements on the gameplay, but that's it. That's not, it really should have changed something or gone a bit bigger. I don't know. I guess it is really cool, but I have most of my respect goes to the first game for all of the innovations it had, all the weapons, which are really cool. I didn't use all the secondary fire, but yeah, I strongly advise this technique of focus on attack. Like the best defense is counterattack or whatever. Sometimes, most of the time that's true though, like in chess. You don't try to passively defend, you got to attack them first. So if you can kill the enemies before they can touch you, that's way better. And if you can improve your damage, then you can kill them with less bullets. So yeah, I just feel really impressed that I upgraded 5 full weapons and several other things. But anyway, so I'll leave it there. Thanks for watching. Bye.